Hello, Gisella.
Tina, how are you?
I'm good, darling. How are you?
I'm so good. It's so nice to see you again, I guess through a screen, but
I
it's
know.
so awesome.
It's really good, but we're going to be seeing each other really soon, which I'm really, really excited about.
Um,
First of all, darling, I wanted to congratulate you on a really beautiful, beautiful couple of months on Australian Idol, which is quite an adventure for anybody. And to just say how beautifully you stood out. You just did a really, really great job, darling. It's not easy at
Thank
all to do
you.
something like that. You get thrown to the lions a little bit, but the team are so great at Idol, and I know that they make you guys feel really comfortable and you all have a great time. You're surrounded by incredible talent. So first of all, congratulations. That's what
Thank,
I wanted to say. How
thank you
did
so much, Tina.
how did you find it? Just
Honestly,
the globality of it all. How did you feel now looking back? Because you've had a week off
mhm.
and away from television and a schedule, a really tight schedule as well, where you're working all the time. How do you feel now that that is finished?
Yes, looking back on it, I am so happy that I did that for myself. I kind of put myself out there and pushed myself in a ways that I haven't been pushed before, and I kind of feel like it's sort of set me up to. I kind of know what this industry is like, and I've been able to work with an incredible, an incredible band and the team,
Mm.
styling. It was an incredible opportunity for me, and I feel like it's really made me the person who I am today. And yeah, it's been really great. Obviously, there's negative and positive, but you've always got to focus on the positive of that.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a really positive experience.
Well, that's great that it was a beautiful and positive experience because I guess, I mean, you never know. It can turn to be something not as fun as you had expected it to be, or sometimes more difficult, or, not everybody can fit into that kind of context, because this is what you got to do, and sometimes you can't really go out of the box or whatever, but well,
Yeah.
that's good. That's really great. That's really great that you learnt a lot. And how did you find working with, I think it's Eilish, right?
Yes, Eilish. Yes.
Eilish and was it
Gosh,
Marshall?
yes.
How did you find working with those two?
Oh, honestly, those two are the most hardworking and beautiful individuals and that I've met before, that I've ever met. And uh, all of us had been pushed quite, we pushed to our limits vocally because there's a
Mm.
lot of load and a lot of work when you get to top three with rehearsing like nonstop, like for like around 3 days, and we've been pushed vocally, and um we've really looked after each other in that way, and making sure that we check in with each other because obviously it can be quite difficult at some points. I won't say all of it is positive because there's always parts to something that can really be, bad, but we
Is that the competition side of it, you think sometimes? Do
um
you think sometimes artists get a little bit nervous when, they're ultimately competing against one another and navigating your way through that, trying to keep really good relationships with people and not buying too much or not being terribly or overly affected by the fact that it's a competition as such? Do
well,
you know what I mean?
yeah, for me personally, and I think we started to uh I for myself made sure that I focused on what I was doing and tried not to look at what was, beside me, or made sure that my sole focus was on myself and not worrying about what other people do, because and what other people say. Especially there was a lot of
Mm.
online hate and people saying things that weren't true and things that would, I guess, upset me. And initially I thought that looking at the comments would, I guess, be a good idea because then I'd know what people are thinking, and I can probably change myself in that way. But then I guess going
So
further,
what? So, darling, tell me, what is the lesson you think out of all of that? Because social media plays a big role today in everything that we do. I think probably a greater role than I think it really deserves to
Yeah.
play, right? So, how do you feel now moving forwards with all of that? Do you think you've learned something with regards to social media and understanding that that's an avenue in which people will always write what they feel, because people can hide behind a screen and they can write really beautiful things, like they can write really terribly negative things as well. So, what's your advice? Because I'm curious, because you're a very sensible young lady and you're a very loving and empathic young woman. What advice would you give to young kids today with regards to social media and how you think you should handle it? What would you say?
Definitely, obviously, I hadn't experienced as much online hate as I did when I went on Idol, but looking back, I think the thing that I most learnt was to not look at the comments, even if there is positive. I think there's always going to be positive and negative, and you've just got to focus on what you're doing because you don't want anyone to, I guess, change who you are. You're who, you drive
Throw your balance
your
off.
balance off,
Mm,
and
mm,
I think I got a little bit carried away at some points where I was like, oh, this person's saying this about me, and that maybe I need to do this because then that'll change their opinion. But
mm,
really, people are going to have an opinion on you, and you just got to worry about yourself, and they'll worry about themselves, and that comment will just get washed up. It's
mm.
not the end of the world that someone says something about you, and I feel like for young people especially we and for artists you want people everyone to like you but
What's the reality, darling? Not everybody's going to like you, right? Okay. So
yeah
you mentioned something very important in that, and I think that's, you know, I think where somebody like me who's been around for as long as what I have, I didn't grow up with social media, Gisella. I didn't know what it was till sort of 20 years ago, right? So I didn't have any of that. And it was a much lovelier environment to be in. So I like the fact that you've got a sensible perspective on social media, because once you can utilize social media really positively. It can be a platform for you to advocate for what you do, to show people what it is that you do. But ultimately, you have to understand that it really does stay in a place. And
Mhm.
that's it. And that it should never override what it is that your focus and your objective is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was definitely um the lesson that I learned is that I've got to focus on what I'm doing and not worry about someone on Facebook and what they think about what I've done, and they don't not liking the song, and I feel like that's really important for young people and people of social media, and young artists and things like that, that they need to just focus on what they're doing and not let things affect them, because it definitely affected me. There was a point where I got quite upset about it, but then you know I decided that I wanted to put out a post on Facebook because I realized that Facebook was the platform that had the most hate.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think that at all. That's
So
quite unusual.
yeah, so at that time that was my, I guess, giving back and taking back my power, because I was so I was affected by what people said, but
Mm.
then I that was like my moment of I guess showing people that I'm going to do what I want to do and I'm not going to let anyone stop me,
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's it. That's the best. It's the best thing to do is just have a very, very healthy, distanced, distanced relationship with all of that. Understand what it is, but leave it in the place that it is. I mean, there's the reason why I really wanted you to come and sing in Perth is, first of all, you've spent the last 2 months working really hard on TV, and people have seen you. And, you didn't come away the winner, but that's not what it's about for me. You came away a winner anyway. All of you did, because you all arrived at a certain point and ended up doing really, really beautiful work as a result of all of that. But I wanted you to come on stage because I feel that you deserve the opportunity to be able to get up and to sing and to go and see the audience, my audience, who no doubt would have watched you on TV as well. And I just thought that for me, it's an opportunity for you to just come up on stage and sing with me, because I enjoyed singing with you, Gisella. It was really, it was lovely. And I think you can always tell when artists enjoy being with one another, because there's a real genuine connection and a joy, and the audience can see that. The audience know when you connect, and the audience also know when you don't connect as well. So you can never lie to them.
Yeah,
You know
absolutely.
what I mean? I've always said the best thing you can ever do is be truthful to yourself and your public, because then nobody can say anything. Nobody can say, well, she lied, she said this, and then she did that, and da da da. I mean, you can change your mind, sure. But it's always important to be who you are. So I really felt it was a great opportunity for me to welcome you up on that stage in your hometown.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
It's so cool. Thank you so much, Tina. I mean, I had the best time performing with you, and I've always looked up to you. And specifically a couple of years back, I think you did a concert in Perth where it was 18 plus is up the Fremantle prison, and I really
yes.
wanted to go, but I wasn't
Oh
allowed to.
no.
But
Yeah.
someone I knew what she live streamed it on Facebook, so I was able to watch there. And then you came in Perth, and I was able to go, and yeah, and the person, someone said that they were going to get me tickets to see you, but obviously they didn't come, and I wasn't able to see you. But now, I performed with you on Idol, and now you're inviting me back, just like is the coolest thing ever. And I really appreciate you. I feel like we've had a really special connection, and I really enjoyed performing with you on that stage.
It was beautiful. I had a great time. Well done. It's fun, and music should be fun, and people should be able to get together on stage and have a really, really, really good time. I started thinking actually yesterday about what we might sing together. So I've just been going through my set list in my head, thinking where could Gisella join in? Well, you could probably bloody join in anywhere, because you can sing any, you can sing anything. So I was like, well, at least I'm not going to have difficulty in deciding where to put her, because whatever song I choose, I know that you're going to be absolutely beautiful. So it's very exciting for me too, honey, to be that person, to be able to give you not that opportunity, well, or make that moment happen for me.
Yeah.
That's really important for me, because when I was your age, we grew up in the industry during our time where a lot of the women were pitted against one another. There was a lot of competition, and it was purposely done as well, so the women could be a little bit antagonistic and feel that sense of competition. And I hated that when I was growing up. If there's one thing I really hated about the business, was that. I thought that's really unfair, because everybody is different.
Exactly.
Everybody brings something different to the table, right? So I thought, no, I'm not going to be that. I'm not going to be that older woman that sits there and goes, oh, I can't sing with that person because they're going to be better than me. They're much younger than me, and da da da, and I can't do this. No,
It's not
I've
like
had I've had a great life. I've had a wonderful career that, lucky for me, still keeps going. But for me, it's a it's a responsibility in a way to also let you guys have an opportunity to get up and sing and support you as well. So that for me is something there, that I take pretty seriously as well. I see this as an opportunity for you. And if you're going to make the decision of being in music full time, like I said to you, it's about having the right people around you all the time, the right role models, people that will be honest with you and tell you things even if you don't want to hear them, to sort of go, you know what, maybe you need to be a little bit careful about this, maybe think about that, make sure you make the right decision, make sure your intentions are right. All of those questions that, need and should be asked. So that's what I feel.
Yeah, I think it's so amazing, and I feel so honored that you, I guess, saw something, and you're giving me this opportunity to perform again with you on stage, and especially now like in my hometown of Perth. And I think it's just absolutely special that you are giving me this opportunity, and I just, I'm just in like, I don't even have the words, I'm just so grateful that you
No, darling, it's cool. It's really cool. Okay, here's a question for you. Um, if you could do a duet on any song, what would it be for you?
does it have to be like, oh, okay. Well, I know this is like really, really like, everyone probably say this to you, but I would love to do a duet of Chains. That would be really. I know it's quite basic, but I've always loved that song. I think that was probably the first song that was introduced to me by my parents, and I remember when I first heard it, and I was just like, it's like I could not even think when I was listening to it. I just absolutely loved it, and
Well,
that
it's musically clever.
it's just such a beautiful song. And I remember like, how did she hit those high notes when I was quite young? And I would be singing it, and mum and dad were like, "Oh, you'll get there one day." And yeah,
Well, you got there and some. So, yeah, okay.
Chains, or I also really enjoy listening to some of your French music. I really love one of the songs in particular, Jusqu'à Impossible. I don't even know the pronunciation.
Aimer. That's a song called
Yes.
Aimer jusqu'à l'impossible. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you
See,
know what that means?
it's, I
I'll
don't know.
tell you. I'll tell you what it means.
I know that I think that was really cool that you sing in different languages. I think that would be a really nice skill to learn, is to learn and learn the language of a different, of a different kind of a group of people.
Culture, different nationality. Have you ever sung in Italian, Gisella?
I have sung in Italian before.
Mm.
At a my cousin's wedding when I went to Italy a couple years ago, I sung a in English and Italian version of "I Will Always Love You," and
Oh, wow.
so it was.
That would have been beautiful. They would have that would have been such a treat for them.
Yeah, they really loved it, and what was really cool about that was that it was an on the spot kind of moment. I had the backing track, and I had been learning it with my nonno. I get quite because the pronunciation of things, I get quite nervous because I don't want to offend anyone by not, I guess, having the right pronunciation when you.
Oh, darling, you're never going to offend anyone. Let me tell you, when I started singing in French, I didn't speak French. I understood a little bit, but I learnt that song phonetically just by listening to it. I didn't really understand, and my pronunciation was not great at all. I was quite embarrassed by it, and the record company went, "Oh my God, no, it's so charming." I said, "Charming?" I said, "It's incorrect." So it was
Yeah.
all, we were always laughing, because I used to absolutely take the mickey out of myself, going, that is so pathetic. And it was the hugest hit. And I was pregnant with my son Gabriel, who's 19, 20 years old this year. So
Wow.
that song is 20 years old, because
Wow.
I was 6 months pregnant when I made the video and released that song. So, aimer jusqu'à l'impossible means love to the impossible. That's the literal translation. But yep, French songs, great. Always good to sing in other languages, honey, because it's good for your brain.
Absolutely. And
It,
it,
it's really good for your brain, and it's great to take yourself out of your comfort zone.
yeah, and I think when I did sing it a couple years back for my cousin in Italy's wedding, it it challenged me in that way. I mean, my nonna was teaching me the pronunciation, and my dad, they were helping me with that. And what was also really cool about that night was that I had a backing track, but it wasn't working. So I had to on the spot talk to the band that was already there performing a different, like for a different reason. They weren't performing for
Yeah.
me, and they knew the song, and they we played it on the spot. So that was just so cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's serendipity. That's a happy accident.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
a great accident. Love that. Listen, here's another thing. What do you think you would like your musical identity to be? What are your influences? Where do you musically want to go?
Yeah, okay. Well, I've always, growing up, listened to your music, and I've listened to a lot of 90s R&B pop singers, and like
Mm,
Mariah and Whitney and Celine, and all of those types of singers, and beyond that as well. I think my musical background is quite diverse. It's not just this, it's this as
mm,
well. And I've
mm,
listened to a whole different range of types of music, and I really loved the time that you made music, and the time that Whitney and Mariah were quite big,
mm,
and things like that. And
mm.
I just love the way that music was made in those eras, in
Yeah,
era. And I feel like, I mean, obviously I'm in a different generation, but I feel like the music that was made back then was just so full of love and soul. And I feel a lot of that is lost in my generation.
it
And
is, darling. That's really interesting that you picked that up. That's a great observation. It is lost, absolutely, because that's a sort of that era, the 90s and stuff, when we were doing that kind of stuff, it was quite traditional songwriting where we'd concentrate on the song, on the story, on a lyric, and on a melody. And it was really very much, it was aborted in a very traditional way. That has changed a lot today.
yeah,
It has changed a lot. And there's, the problem is that the market is flooded with so much music. It's really difficult to hear the great things from things that are just okay. You know what I mean? So,
I guess,
how do you feel you want to approach all of that? How do
yeah,
you feel? Do you songwrite? You play piano? What
yeah.
do you like to do with that? Do you like to create your own or not? You know, because not everybody can do that.
Yeah, I know. I guess that was a skill that has taken me a little while to acquire. I've always been quite self-doubtful with writing my own music, and I guess I just didn't like, I didn't want people to, make fun of it or go, "Oh, that wasn't that great." And
That's normal. That's normal. That kind of questioning is normal. It's good. It's really healthy, Gisella. Don't
yeah,
you will question, and it's important to question yourself. But
yeah,
it's also important not to be fearful and think that everything you do is rubbish,
yeah,
because
absolutely.
that's not true.
Yeah, and I would love to kind of, once I guess get a song of my own out there in the world. I mean, a lot of my music is kind of in the books, and hasn't gone past the books yet, because I've been
Mm,
so focused on other things like school, and I
yeah.
guess going on Idol and things like that. But I would really love, and what I was inspired by was like your music, and that time of when music was just about the voice and the story of the song, and not about the presentation,
The
and
craft, the
and
craft.
just the craft, like the pure craft. And I would love to, I guess, draw from what I grew up on, and I would love to, that would be where I'd like to go with music and my journey.
Well, that's beautiful, darling. That's beautiful. I tell you, a young lady I have a lot of respect for. And I've watched her grow up. Like I've watched a few of them. I've watched Miley Cyrus grow up. I've watched Selena Gomez grow up. You know, they're young women who've worked hard, really hard, right? But what they've done is that they trust themselves, Gisella. They take risks. And it's not even taking a risk at all. They trust their own intuition. They
Mhm.
listen to their inner voice and they don't let themselves be led up the garden path. It's like, no, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. This is the sound. This is the song. And I really love it. And I'm really enjoying watching Selena Gomez do music with her fiance, who's a producer by the name of Benny Blanco,
Yeah.
who's super talented.
Yeah.
So people like that, and Miley too, these people who are go-getters, they're like, I don't care what everybody else is doing. I'll do what I want to do.
Yeah.
So they're wonderfully inspiring young ladies of this generation that are worth looking up to. There's a lot. There's a lot of really, really interesting women in the business.
Yeah.
And what I love about them is that they are absolutely not at all frightened to reveal their true inner feelings,
Mhm.
whether they're great positive feelings or whether they're feelings of darkness.
Mhm.
They're not frightened to share it. So don't ever be frightened to share anything that you do. From a writing perspective, I thought everything I did was shit. There was not, I still think things I do is shit. So that just means I'm constantly questioning what it is that I do. And I think that's I think that's healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of musicians and singers, especially myself, we kind of doubt ourselves and we think that what we do is not good enough and this person's done this and we start to compare ourselves to
Yeah, comparing, there's the word.
yeah,
You cannot compare yourself to anybody. That's the
everyone's
biggest
different.
mistake you can ever make in
Yeah.
doing any kind of art form. It's going, oh, I must be like that person. No, that person is that person. It's not you.
Yeah, and I think with on Idol as well, I personally didn't compare myself to the other contestants, but a lot of people compared me to the other contestants with the
Mm,
presentation and oh, she has
mm.
a nice voice, but she's boring. She doesn't do anything. She does the same things all the time, and that kind of upset me because I guess I mean, I tried not to listen, but I mean, it's kind of hard not
Yeah.
when you're scrolling and you're trying to post something and then a comment pops up and you
Mm.
know
There's
it's
not a
quite
lot of filters, is there? People don't have a really great filter when
no
they start writing. I wish they would write things like that. It's like, guys, listen, I understand you might want to express an opinion, but it is difficult for the people to know, even those that are expressing those opinions, and I'm certainly not passing judgment because who am I to pass judgment? If somebody feels they want to write something, sure. I just think always be very careful about what you write because it can offend people. But ultimately the public don't really know exactly what goes on behind the scenes. So, that's one of those things, and that's okay. You can't expect them to know everything. That's
yeah.
fine.
And one of the things that I guess had to realize for myself is that we're all different and especially this season of Australian Idol, every single person had there was a difference in them you can't compare um people because everyone is different and they sing differently and the presentation is different and I guess that was a thing that we all had to collectively agree is that everyone's different and everyone's good in their own way and there's
Everybody's got a different energy, Gisella, and everybody brings something very different to the table, honey.
people. Yeah, and that was I think that was something that I realized and that we all had to realize together and that was kind of what brought us together is that there's a difference but there's also a connection and there's a mutual love for music and what we love to do.
Yeah, mutual respect. Well, my darling, you guys definitely showed that mutual respect in abundance. It is very, very important to respect the people, the artists, the individual artists in the business, because you have a common thread and an understanding as artists that perhaps other people don't have. So that's a beautiful point to
Yeah.
always be giving of yourself and always be positive and encouraging to other people, because if they feel encouraged, they can be pretty limitless. Do you know what I mean? So I just wanted to say again, congratulations. I'm really happy that you went through this journey. I loved singing with you very, very much. And I cannot wait for the people in Perth to see you in your hometown in literally just over 2 weeks. So I'm
I
really excited. I'm going to let you get back to school, honey. I don't want you to be late for class because Lord knows I've had to work very hard to keep my son at school. So I'm going to be like a mum now and say, you go, you have the best day. This is this is your last year of that beautiful group and that wonderful thing of school where you go and you grow up with your friends and then once you leave that bubble, honey, it's a different world. Do you know what I mean? You are much more on your own. So make the most of it. Enjoy your friends, enjoy your teachers, put a lot of love out there, continue doing what you're doing. I know you're going to do really, really good with your end of year. I'll be watching, I'm sure. I'll want to know what your results are. And
think
I'll keep my eye on you, darling. And I'm going to see you really soon in Perth on stage with Dorian and
so.
Jason.
Oh, they were just amazing, and it was so. I'm so glad that I get to do this again with you. And that experience with you on stage. I know I'll be really quick, but that experience with you on stage was just out of this world. I felt like I didn't have to worry about the vocals because it was just us two together, and we were just connecting and bonding on our love for music. It was just amazing, and
It
I
was a beautiful moment, darling. It really was. And I was very, very happy. I was really happy that I did it. I've always been a bit trepidatious with those kinds of shows. But I guess as I'm getting older, I just go, well, they are what they are. And it's up to the individual to take the absolute best out of that scenario. So I think you did that. Um, I'm going to send you lots of love. Have a great day at school, my darling. All right.
hope to
I
see you with
send you lots of love. And if you were hearing a dog in the background, that's my dog Maya that was in the background barking because she can't help herself.